They say you should never judge a book by its cover. But what do you expect me to do when the cover is this? Of course I'm gonna judge it. It's terrible. But the real question is the movie better? Hi everyone, welcome to Kayla's Movie Corner. Today we're gonna be talking about the 2004 film, Closer. Now last week I watched Closer for the first time and I immediately felt compelled to share my thoughts. I wanted to participate in a Socratic seminar about it, but unfortunately there was no one around to do that with. So here I am, sharing my thoughts with you. You're better than anyone else I could have found. Now, I have seen this picture of Natalie Portman in the stunning Nicki Minaj-inspired bob many a time. And for some reason, I finally felt compelled to watch this movie and find out how in the world we got here. And one of the reasons that it took me so long to watch this movie was this disgrace of a cover. Like, this is absolutely horrendous. It genuinely looks like they had a different editor Photoshop each person, and then they just slapped the layers together. There's too much ear, Julia is too smooth, Natalie's bangs are so greasy. Get it out of here. Get it off the screen. But looking past that, the tagline for the film is, "If you believe in love at first sight, you never stop looking." Oh. Now this is something I can work with. I'm a lover girl. Down. Anything love, count me in. And so essentially, this film aims to be an exploration of this love square, this love quartet, if you will, between Alice, Dan, Anna, and Larry. Because they all just fall in love with each other immediately. Except no one is gay. Unfortunately. Boo. But the movie starts off with this ominous red text that says "Closer." Pretty much the same typeface that's in the atrocious cover. And although red can feel quite romantic, passionate, loving, this red screams ominous to me. It feels like a horror movie. And this intrigued me. And to be honest, if Jude Law was not so hot in this movie, it would 100% be a horror film. Yeah, that's right. This movie is it flirting or harassment personified? And speaking of red, the first diva we see has what? Red hair, that's right. That's right, but her hair isn't just "I'm heartbroken and manic dyed my hair" red. Oh no. She has this disheveled, lived-in cut. She is a girl in between eras. She's cut off her past trauma, letting her brunette roots grow in. But she hasn't decided what's next for her quite yet. And this complex diva, of course, is Alice. And this slightly disheveled man staring at her from across the street is Dan. And as the intro continues, we see that Alice and Dan are having their little meet cute in the street. I can't take my eyes off of you. They lock eyes and instantly fall in love. But then Alice gets hit by a car and dies. I can't take my mind. Yeah, I know. Red title card, red hair, red blood on her leg. How fitting. I can't take my mind off of you. Just kidding, she lives. Boo. Yeah, I know. Unfortunate. But she does get hit by a car. And I think the film would be a lot more interesting if she did die. Alright, I'll say it. Sorry, it's true. I think it would have been so shocking to actually kill her off in the first 5 minutes. And in true Drew Barrymore Scream fashion. And hook people in. Make them think she's in the movie. She's not.
Hello, stranger.
That's what she says when she awakes from her slumber in the arms of Dan. And this whole meet cute, there's this song playing in the background. I can't take my eyes off of you. It's this whole "I can't take my eyes off of you" of it all. And for right now, Alice is this someone new that Dan has fallen in love with. He can't take his eyes off of her. And she can't take her eyes off of him. That's why she got run over. So since she's alive or whatever, Dan takes her to the hospital, and in return, she digs through his bag when he's not looking. Queen. She's a sly girl. So of course she's looking for some cigarettes. But Dan says that he has given up. Boo. How uncool of him. It's 2004. Like, get with the times. Be cool.
I told you I've given up.
Try harder.
But you know what else is uncool? The fact that he brings a fish sandwich with the crust cut off to work every day.
Didn't fancy my sandwiches.
Well, no wonder he's a failed journalist. No wonder you're stuck writing the obituaries. No one alive would want to smell his breath long enough for him to write a piece. But anyways, they're having some crazy sexual tension in this hospital while she's bleeding out, and we learn that he's a mama's boy.
Did your mother cut off your crust when you were a little boy?
Yes, I believe she did.
Because at his big age, he still cuts off his crust. Yeah. Nice, yeah. So Alice presumably gets treated at the hospital, and Dan shows her around London because she has just arrived from New York and has nowhere to live or stay, and no plan whatsoever. Queen. And as they're talking, they're hitting it off, and they make their way to a cemetery. Modern day. Cute. Which turns out to be quite fitting because, again, Dan writes the obituaries. He wanted to be a novelist, but turns out he sucks at that, so he became a writer for the dead instead. And in the cemetery, they notice that the graves are all for people who
Died saving the lives of others.
cute. And it turns out that Dan has actually been here before.
My mother's dead. My father and I came here the afternoon she died.
Mama's boy. Mama's boy alert. Red flag, red flag. Beware, be scared. Be scared. And although Dan has failed to become a novelist, he still does have some creative expression with the obituaries. And this comes in the form of euphemisms. Convivial to mean an alcoholic. Enjoyed his privacy. Gay. Seems like it might say something about his character, but we'll get to that later. Because right now, Alice wants to know what he would write for her.
She was disarming.
That might have moved me a little bit. You know what? It moved me a little bit, I can't lie. You know what? He might have got me there. 0-1 to Dan. He basically just confessed his love for her. Oh, okay? Okay. Now, up to this point, it's been very clear that they are attracted to each other, but they still don't know each other's names. Yeah. And he still doesn't know what she does for work. And as she admits that she is a stripper, you can see Dan's whole demeanor shift. His face freezes. His eyes dart back and forth. When before they were locked in completely on her. It was love at first sight. But now his sight is wavering. And as Dan is getting dropped off at work, Alice asks the ever important question.
You have a girlfriend?
And it turns out he does. Oh. He's a whore. Yeah, he's a whore. He's been flirting, kissing her on the forehead, giving her the whole spiel about his dead mother lore. Meanwhile, his girlfriend is at home reading the morning obituaries. She has no idea that her relationship is in tomorrow's column. Poor girl. But hey, at least we finally get the name of our diva.
My name is Alice Ayres.
And holy jump cut, it's Julia Roberts. Oh, okay. Where are we? When are we? I don't know. Now, this movie loves a time jump. And more specifically, it loves to time jump and then pretend like nothing happened. Like, I kid you not, this scene is 3 years later. And we only know that because of a few lines of dialogue that come 10 minutes later. And because Alice's hair has grown out. Alice's red and brown buzz cut has grown into a full brunette bob. It's been time. It's been years. She is the way we keep time in this country. But at this moment, Dan is getting his portrait photo done by Anna, Miss Julia Roberts, for his book promo. Oh, I guess he finally wrote a book. I guess he wrote a book. This man has apparently written an erotic stripper novel about Alice's life. Right. And somehow Anna has managed to read this unreleased book in one night.
He kept me up till 4.
And she absolutely loved it. And now it seems like Dan is absolutely in love with her.
I thought it was accurate.
About what?
About sex. About love.
There's tension all throughout the air. They are slightly too far from each other. There's ominous opera music in the background. But it's still oddly silent. The only thing that temporarily cuts the tension is the bang of a camera flash. And you just know something's about to go down because this man is staring her down through the lens.
Am I a stranger?
He wants to be in her right now.
Come here.
Right. But Miss Anna doesn't give in too easy. Oh no. She's no homewrecker. She says, I don't kiss strange men. And you know what he says? He says,
Neither do I.
Now what a line that is. What a response. You know what? 2-0. And of course they kiss. course they kiss. And this is no quick peck. No, no, no. This man is going for it. He's hungry. He needs her. He needs to be closer. But is what brings her back to reality. And the reality being that they just talked about his girlfriend and then proceeded to make out behind her back. Right. No, yeah, right. And then he proceeds to ask some totally normal questions like, do you have children? And then he follows that up with, would you like some? I can't tell if this is flirting or harassment, but it's one of those. It's one of them. But this conversation reveals a lot about Dan. One of the main things being the way he views Alice, because he describes her as completely lovable
and completely unleavable.
What an endearing way to describe your girlfriend. Someone add that to my wedding vows. But Anna sees through his little euphemism here and knows that what he really means is that you don't want someone else to get their dirty hands on her. Clock that tea, girl, clock that tea. And his eyes dart in the same way that they did earlier when Alice revealed she was a stripper. And he simply has to have Alice because of love at first sight. That has to mean something, and it has to mean that she belongs to him. But in the same way that he locked eyes with Alice and became infatuated with her, now he's infatuated with Anna. And he just has to see her. He has to see her again. But she has morals. She's a girl's girl, so she will not be stealing anyone's man. At least not for the next half hour. Alice knows immediately that he's done something sus, but Dan isn't perceptive enough to pick up on this, and he assumes that she is too young, too naive to understand and sense his demeanor change. And he must also think that she's a little deaf, because he actively describes his plans to cheat on her again while she is 10 feet away in the bathroom.
I've got to see you.
And Alice, being sly and disarming, manages to get herself some alone time with Anna, to which she admits that she did in fact hear their conversation when she was 3 feet away. Big shocker. But it's okay, because Anna ensures her that it won't happen ever again.
I'm not a thief, Alice.
Which I would believe, you know? But Alice doesn't seem too happy about it.
Just take my picture.
But hey, at least Anna has a great piece for her upcoming exhibit. But this unrequited desire to cheat on his girlfriend has brought Dan to a low point. He's on the couch, looking quite disheveled and what's that on the computer? He's on a website. Texting man. Now this could be exciting. I even wrote in my notes, oh my gosh, he's gay? But unfortunately, again, they don't take the risk here. And he is instead just cosplaying as Anna with this incel doctor. Fun. Okay. And there's again this sort of classical music in the background that is frankly quite scary at times, especially to me as a woman. Which to be fair is fitting because what is this conversation? She's not even blonde, like that woman is a redhead. And they are both describing these insane scenarios. Meanwhile, neither of them is actually getting off. Neither of them are actually fondling themselves in any way. That was kind of funny. But you know what's not funny? The fact that he offers to meet up with this man as Anna and is sending this woman challenged, sex-deprived man to meet with the woman that he supposedly loves at a place that he knows that she frequents. Oh, okay. I guess this is the part where the movie turns into a horror film. So now this creepy doctor is sauntering around the aquarium looking for a blonde woman with big tits. And, it turns out she is at the aquarium. Talking about, I can't believe these things actually happen. I can't believe this is actually happening. This is a horror film in the making. Why would Dan do this to this woman? And why are aquariums so dark and scary? Since when?
Come hungry bitch typing.
Sir, this is an aquarium. There are children here. You can't be doing this in front of my salad.
Why do I feel like a pervert?
I don't know. Have you ever considered the fact that you might be one? I'm not saying that you are, but I'm also not saying that you aren't. But I know what you're wondering. How is Anna gonna get away from this perv? Well, don't worry, because it turns out they fall in love. And by the next scene, they've been dating for 4 months. Yep. Yeah.
Why won't you let me love you?
Right. So now the girls, aka Dan and Alice, are fighting because Dan is being suspicious about wanting to go on this work trip without Alice and then is gaslighting her into making it seem like she's being ridiculous for wanting to go with him and not trusting him. And we know that there's been a time jump because Alice now has a jet black bob with bangs. Keep up, ladies. And it's now time for Anna's art exhibition, and of course, the whole gang is here. So it's really an exhibition to see who's going home with who. Who going home with who tonight? Because when Alice and Larry meet,
Alice.
they have the most chemistry out of everyone. They instantly have a lot of sexual tension. But Larry knows that she's a stripper. And of course, he has to bring it up. And of course, that fuels his sex-driven mind to grab her neck. So they have this moment where it feels like they're gonna kiss, but they resist. Boo. And this movie really toys this line between temptation and addiction, knowing that once you give into temptation, there's no clean way out. And this is used in a metaphorical sense with being tempted by chemistry and addicted to falling in love, but also in a physical sense with smoking. In the scene with Dan and Alice, she's seen smoking, which aligns with her smoking at the beginning, but we see Larry resist the offer.
No.
Even though
Fuck it,
he's
yes.
very tempted by her.
No.
And where Larry has chosen to both resist the sexual and smoker temptation, we see Dan smoking at the exhibition, even though he said he had quit. Oh. And not only is he smoking after claiming that he had given up, but he's also going back to the exhibition to see Anna after sending Alice away in a cab alone. And he has this moment where he can resist the urge and step into the cab. But of course, he just can't resist temptation. So he goes back in to lurk and smoke around the lobby and wait for Anna to come see him. And it's here we learn that his book flopped. Loser! And Larry is, he's low-key intimidated by pretty boy Daniel. Because he's again being a horror movie villain and staring as hard as can be.
Christmas Carol, which is why it seems so relevant.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He wants to see what pretty boy's talking about. Like, sir, you were definitely flirting with his girlfriend, so you really can't be too mad now. You really can't be too mad now. Be for real. So it turns out that Anna has kept to her word and hasn't hung out with Dan since the photography incident. But they have seen each other from a distance because he's been stalking her from outside the window. Yeah, every day. Yeah.
I don't stalk. I lurk.
Right. Is this flirting? Is this harassment? I don't know. But Anna's not completely innocent because apparently...
When I'm not there, you look for me.
How do you know if you're not there? Because I am there.
Lurking from a distance.
Oh, so y'all are both crazy. Oh, so I guess it is flirting. I guess it's just flirting. It's not harassment. And I know he's insane, but this would work on me. I'm sorry, it's 3-0. It's 3-0. It's 3-0. And he confesses his love for her. She denies it, but she is still intrigued. But she has to go back to her boyfriend and pretend like she isn't.
His father died.
Right. I'm sure he was just showing you the morning paper. I'm sure of it. But Larry isn't so easily fooled. And he assures her that if it came down to a fight, he could take him. All right, big boy. But to turn the heat off of herself for a little bit, she asks Larry what he thinks of Alice, to which he responds.
She has the moronic beauty of youth, but she's sly.
Which is quite similar to the way that Dan described her when he said she was disarming. But Larry isn't a euphemism type of man. He isn't an aspiring novelist. He's a practical doctor, and as such, he's blunt with his words. Blunt like this boom boom flashbang. Here we are. When are we? I don't know. We need to see Alice's hair to be able to tell, so unfortunately we don't know yet. Oh, there she is. She looks pretty similar, so it must not have been that long. It looks like Dan is just getting home from work, so let's hear what he has to say. The music is definitely not ominous, so it must be a pleasant thing.
I've been with Anna. I'm in love with her.
Oh.
We've been seeing each other for a year.
Oh. Looks like this is gonna be messy. But hey, maybe Anna has already broken up with Larry, right?
I want to remember this moment forever. First time I walked through the door returning from a business trip to be greeted by my wife.
So they're married now. Yeah, she married Larry even though she's been cheating on him with Dan the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. Good for her, you know? Don't let your husband stop you from finding a new boyfriend. Sure. But it's clear that Anna and Dan have decided that today is the perfect day to reveal their affair to their long-term partners. And Anna has yet to pull the trigger. However, she is acting very suspicious. For starters, she was staring at the wall for about 2 minutes before he came home. Then she started acting like housewife of the year, offering him baths and tea. And then she denies his sexual advances, saying that she has just had a bath.
Why are you dressed if you just had a bath?
Oh,
We needed some milk.
I'm sure you needed some milk. Oh, how I love being a woman. But Larry's being weird too. He's showering her with gifts and praise, which makes her feel even more guilty for having just slept with Dan minutes before he showed up. But something's not quite right with him either. We'll get there in a minute. But back in Love at First Sight land, Dan reveals that he was begging for Anna while on his 3rd-year anniversary trip with Alice. Nice. And Alice, understandably, is heartbroken. But she's not as naive as Dan thinks. And she doesn't buy the whole I couldn't help falling in love with her crap. And she says there's a moment.
There's a moment. There's always a moment. I can do this. I can give in to this, or I can resist it.
And that really is the culmination of this addiction and temptation conversation. Because at the opening, she and Larry decided to resist. While Anna and Dan clearly they did not. They gave into that temptation real quick.
Because I think you might be about to leave me, and I didn't want to be wearing a dressing gown.
And back to the newlyweds, Larry admits that he slept with a whore in New York. It's fine. Well, of course she doesn't care, because she's been cheating on him the whole time. So this is just a speck of dust to her. It don't mean nothing. This is child's play. You working with a real manipulator, and you doing something that's child's play. This don't mean nothing. This don't mean a damn thing. Baby, I don't care. Baby, I don't care. Let me give you something to care about.
Dan.
And so she admits to her affair.
I love him.
And, it seems like Larry is taking this quite well, really.
You're a coward, you spoilt bitch.
He's calm, cool, collected.
Because I'm a fucking caveman!
He's really accepting, and I'm sure that Anna is really appreciative of all of this. It's going to make this transition a lot easier for her.
Now fuck off and die.
On a real note, Larry is an incel of his time, and we knew this already from his online activities, but this is just further cemented when he asks her who is better in bed.
Do you ever, compare who's better?
And Anna must admit that Dan is
Gentler.
Dan is a man of passion, a novelist who has a way with words, who idolizes love and just wants a storybook ending. While Larry is a practical man with a practical job, and he only cheats on his wife in practical ways on business trips, which is how life should be. But now that our original relationships have ended, what's next? Flashbang. Of course, we have another time jump, and this time it is 3 months later. And Larry is strutting his way down the strip club steps with a full face of facial hair. And this is how we know some time has passed. You gotta look at the hair. He takes a gander around at all the pickings, but he ends up locking eyes with one lucky lady. Miss Barbiana herself, Miss Alice. It's wig time, baby. Congrats, love. You have been selected as the lucky winner of this incel man. Woo! Whoa, 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 yeah. He's all yours.
She won't even see me.
And this is, of course, the setting where the viral Twitter clips have all taken place. And it does burst some really good dialogue, but it's not as vulgar as you might expect it to be.
And you're gonna bend over, and you're gonna touch the fucking floor for my viewing pleasure.
Okay, well, of course, Larry is very vulgar. But if we take a look at Alice, she's wearing a new wig, and she's operating under a different name. She calls herself Jane Jones. And it's hard to tell if she's actually interested in Larry, if she just wants his money, or if she's enjoying this interaction at all. And Larry is frustrated too, so he asked her to tell him something true. And she says,
"Lying's the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off. But it's better if you do."
And now that is a line, and it reveals a lot about Alice. It says that she enjoys pretending to be someone else because it means that you can protect your feelings and identity. And Larry, being the ever compassionate guy that he is, he really appreciates her for that.
And you're gonna touch the fucking floor.
And so while Miss Plain Jane Jones is stripping for Larry's cash, Dan and Anna are having a little date at the Opera House. Or at least they were supposed to be, but Anna is seemingly running late from her meeting with Larry. Apparently it's been some time since the incident, and Anna is trying to get Larry to sign the divorce papers. But who would have thought he doesn't want to?
I love you. Please come back.
He wants her back. Bad. He wants her back so terribly, disgustingly bad that he proposes a final fuck to repay him for the trauma that she's caused him. Okay.
I am begging you to give me your body.
Ew. This is harassment and not flirting. I hate this. I hate this whole thing. What? Girl. This is the most appalling thing to me. But somehow this works on Anna. I guess she is just as twisted as he is. But unfortunately, since she's a female character, we never get to learn anything about her or her true feelings, so sucks for us. And although she doesn't tell Dan immediately what she's done, he can tell that something happened. And it isn't until he has a moment to ponder in his royal throne that it clicks for him. And he is disgusted.
It's kindness.
No.
He likes a woman all to himself, just like how she told him once upon a time. And she can see in his eyes, it's over. He just imagines how it went down and pictures exactly what he would do to get Alice back, using the old jokes, the strange familiarity to lure her in. But the opera is over. The crescendo has peaked and we are flashbanged again. Damn it! We're in rainy London with a soaking wet Dan waiting in the doctor's office because he wants a prescription on how to get Anna back, because turns out Anna has left Dan to go back to Larry. All right, girl. All right, she said, I'll take both of them. I'm gonna go back and forth like ping pong. Belly could never. And we know it's been at least a week. I don't know how much time it's been. Alice isn't on screen, so it's impossible to tell without her cunty wigs and haircuts. So I don't know. But nevertheless, Dan wants Larry to relinquish Anna to him. And of course, Larry does nothing of the sort. Dan claims that Larry doesn't know her. But does Dan even know her? Let's put a pin in this. Dan claims that Larry loves her like a dog loves his owner. To which Larry says, and the dog loves the owner for doing so. Okay. It's this conversation that we get the perspective of how these two men view love. Larry is a practical man who just wants a wife that he can tolerate, while Dan wants passion. He wants true love. He wants to find the special one.
You think love is simple? You think the heart is like a diagram?
Have you ever seen a human heart? It looks like a fist wrapped in blood.
But the reality here is that they're both right in their perspectives, but they are both horrible lovers for the same reasons. They refuse to see the other's perspective and get the two together. And for that, they lack the depth needed for a successful marriage. Because you need both love and practicality to be happy. And so Dan is overwhelmed and he starts crying like a loser.
You don't know the first thing about love because you don't understand compromise.
Which is true, because his love for Anna left as soon as he knew that she had been touched by another man. So Larry gives him a prescription, and he prescribes that he goes back to Alice. And they bond over their love for his book and his work, and they leave each other peacefully, happily ever after.
I lied to you. I did fuck Alice.
Until Larry gets one last blow at Dan and reveals that he did have sex with Alice after all. He just had to plant that seed in his head. And so we see Alice and Dan together at the airport hotel. They're hitting it off. They're cracking their old jokes. They feel the strange familiarity with each other. They're reminiscing on the good times. They are in the clouds, high on love.
When we get on the plane, we'll have been together 4 years.
And now Dan needs a smoke, while Alice has managed to give up. She's changed. She's no longer an addict, while Dan has relapsed into his old ways, as he always does.
And then you stepped into the road. It was the moment of my life.
When you almost died looking at me. Oh, how romantic. Let's add that to the wedding vows too, why don't we? And as they're reminiscing, he recalls that he kissed her on the forehead in the cab, and the driver asked him, "Is she yours?" To which he replied, "Yes, she's mine." And this fond memory of his conquisition of this woman turns into a look of disgust when he starts thinking about Alice and Larry having slept together. And this is a possible stain on his view of her. But he has to know if Larry was lying. And so he asks, and she denies. And so he asks, and she denies. And he won't stop asking.
Because I'm a lunatic.
But Alice will not give up the truth so easily, because it's clear that he will never look at her the same way if he knows the truth. So she admits,
I don't love you anymore.
Goodbye. And having relinquished her love for him, she's able to tell the truth.
Larry fucked me all night.
And she is snapped out of her daze.
Whatever you say, it's too late.
Please, don't do this.
It's done.
She's officially disgusted by him. Now it's harassment. So things heat up and she spits in his face. And in return, he slaps her. Oh, yeah. It's harassment now. Yeah, it's a horror movie now. Yeah. But it causes her to serve a mean face card. And then we flashbang to Julia Roberts in a crazy lace front, doing 20 crossword puzzles at one time with Larry by her side. God damn it. This woman is clearly contemplating her life choices. But baby girl, you did this to yourself. I don't want you with that man. I want you with Dan. Okay? Sorry. I have to admit. But what's done is done. And we have our intro song playing again.
I can't take my eyes off you.
And Alice is on her way back to New York City. And as she shows her passport, it is revealed that she wasn't lying to Larry about her name. She really is Plain Jane Jones. And as Dan is walking around the cemetery again, hoping to pick up another unleavable girl, he sees the name Alice Ayers on a gravestone. And he realizes that he never really knew her at all. He didn't even know her real name. How do you write a novel about a woman and you don't even know her real name? You knew nothing about this woman. What a journalist he is. And the final scene of the movie is, of course, a parallel to the meet cute of Dan and Alice. Except this time, we have Jane just walking through the streets of New York City by herself. And instead of her having a meet cute with a new man, she is getting lusted after by every man in the street. Nice. And all in all, the big takeaway is that if Jude Law was not hot in this movie, it would 100% be a horror film. Yep, it would be harassment, but half of it is flirting. Okay? And that's really the difference between flirting and harassment. But those are all of my main thoughts on the movie. Let me know if you've seen this or if you have any other thoughts. Let's talk about it in the comments. That's always really fun for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any movie recommendations, any thoughts, anything at all, let me know. I just love talking to y'all. And thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please. I love y'all. See y'all next time. Bye. Subscribe here, click this video here, there's a playlist here, there's a playlist here, there's a video here, click subscribe here, leave a comment there, yeah.